What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the debut album from the band Vulture, entitled The Guillotine. This is released on High Roller Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very lethal, violent, aggressive hybrid of both speed metal and thrash metal. Yeah. My first introduction to this band was their 2016 debut demo entitled Victim to the Blade. Now, I had seen a lot of my friends post about this particular band and demo and release in question, and it influenced me enough to finally want to check it out for my own. And boy, was the hype and praise justified for a release like this. I mean, this is just some killer sound. It was just a killer sounding release all the way through and through. The reverbed vocals, the high emphasis on quality solos and riffing, the rototom drumming, the audible bass, just this is the style of thrash metal that and speed metal that I really go for the most. The style that's very hard hitting, very violent sounding, very aggressive, and honestly, this is a band that really has the room to showcase a ton of potential. And I was very curious to know what was going to come next from Vulture. And now here we are with their debut full length entitled The Guillotine. Weirdly enough, how this particular demo that they put out got reissued with a really over-the-top sort of horror movie sort of violent cover of a girl about to have her throat slit, and now you have this album cover of a blood-drenched guillotine about to go down and some hands and all that other stuff, and it's just really crazy the type of imagery this band brings. It's really crazy. It almost adds that horror sort of element going for it. But anywho, moving on to The Guillotine, their debut full length. It's 8 tracks and it clocks in at around 38 minutes in length, and honestly, there have been a lot of really killer albums to come out this year to represent thrash metal and speed metal and whatever. I mean, stuff to come to mind would be like the new Condor record and the new Antichrist album. But as far as thrash and speed in 2017 goes, Vulture have hands down taken the cake for me. This is easily the best stuff I've heard from that style of metal this year, and there's just so much depth and influence going for a release like this. From the minute you hear this album on, you already know what type of a thrill ride you're going to be into, and this is a very, very thrilling record. If I had to describe this album in one word, it would be thrilling. And there is just a lot to take in from the minute you hear the intro of Vendetta to the opening to closing moments of Cry for Death. This is just some seriously killer metal going on here. I love what this album does. There are lots and lots of incredible guitar riffs to be heard throughout the majority of this album. The way every riff is intricated, the way everything sounds, the way everything is played, it's just mesmerizing. I love the riff work. I love the intricacy in the solos. It's just very awesome. It brings you back to that early 80s era vibe of classic thrash metal. It just sounds wonderful, and everything is put into place perfectly. It sounds wonderful. I love the way everything sounds here. The bass work on here is incredibly well thought out and audible. Definitely holds a good candle to every riff that's being done on here. I want to say on the track Adrian's Candle, you hear the bass work on there very nicely. The nice little touches that add to the solos of this record. It's really, really sensational. Moving on to the drums, like on the previous demo, there is a ton of rototom work going on here. It sure does sound like it, but it adds to the overall element of this record. The thrash beats, the rototom solos, it's just really, really badass. And I love this drumming style a lot. It really does maintain a great tempo throughout the majority of this record, especially to tracks like Clashing Iron and Electric Ecstasy. It's just seriously killer drum work to be heard throughout this record. It never holds up. It's never a dull moment to listen to a drum performance like this. It's really, really sensational. And when it comes to the vocals, this was another thing that was really unique about Vulture, is the fact that the vocals seem to be very diverse and varied. You get these really reverbed sort of growls and spoken word sort of parts, but then you get these really awesome Exciter Slayer-esque sort of wails going on with the vocals to add a little bit of singing going on to this release, and it just really is awesome. I love this guy's vocal delivery. It's very catchy, very reminiscent of early days past, and that's what I get for a release like this. Hearing him do the hooks on songs like Triumph of the Guillotine and Paraphiliac, it's just really awesome to see this vocalist get into his element and groove with songs like these, and just overall commanding your attention. This guy really does have a great knack for vocal variety here. So overall, like I said, this is probably my favorite thrash release of 2017 so far. Speed metal, thrash metal, any of the classic stuff. I mean, if you think of stuff like bands like maybe Razor or Agent Steel or Exciter, or even early stuff like maybe Slayer or Possessed in certain bits and pieces, you really find something special with a band like Vulture. This is a very awesome album that throws things back without having to be too forced or cheesy. This is genuine from the heart stuff, and I think the Guillotine is an amazing debut. Definitely worth owning and purchasing if you're ever able to come across it. So, if I had to think of any personal favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Vendetta, Clashing Iron, Electric Ecstasy, and the closing track, Cry for Death, is really sensational too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will leave you links to the songs Vendetta and Clashing Iron. I believe they are streaming on the band's personal YouTube channel. I will also leave you links to where you can purchase physical copies. You can buy it directly from the band. You can buy it directly through High Roller Records. I don't know where it will be available in the United States. I'm pretty sure Hell's Headbangers will be carrying it, possibly $20 spin, so keep an eye out for that if they will be available there. So again, the album is The Guillotine by Vulture. This is released on High Roller Records. Go check this out. And for a score, I'm going to give this a very strong 9 out of 10. This is a definite contender to be in the top 10 of this year. Very amazing debut. So if you happen to have heard this album, definitely let me know what you think about it and how you feel about it, or any of you guys into Vulture, definitely let me know. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Army Ho out.